Leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. They gave leadership to our foreparents, and that leadership made them slaves. But we have decided to find a leadership of our own.
Not your average nigga, I'm a god out the hood. They can't downplay me, I came up, I'm elevated. I ain't gotta say too much for them to know I'm coming for what's mine. You know they see me in my presence, say they see how I'm coming. Young, but you not just gonna finesse me like you did my peoples. Then back when you said they was emancipated. This ain't that. Your head too big, you feeling yourself. The game wasn't fair, you had the advantage, we wasn't educated. I don't look at you people the same. Nah. Your worst nightmare, my skin tone about them chains. Yeah. Not no circus lion, son, I can't be tamed. You gon' have to kill me, pussy, Toby ain't my name. Y'all still want us think our history started when we were slaves? What? Come on now, talk about them pyramids we made. I was chosen by that man, you know y'all just been running game. The nerve of you acting like...
What's going on, family? I am your host, and welcome back to Shifting the Culture Podcast, Brother King Cam. And tonight we have a special show with a very special guest lined up for you all tonight, man. We're going to be discussing tech with a good friend of mine. We linked up via social media. I've been watching her work for quite some time now. Very dope, very impactful. So we're going to be introducing her very shortly. But before we get into all of that, family, I need the Culture family to do me a favor. Instagram, I need you to make sure that you are engaging on this as we continue to move through the show tonight. Facebook family, I need you to like and share. YouTube, I need you to smash that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button as well, and hit the bell to stay notified each and every time that we drop a video. And then the Twitter family, I need to make sure that you retweet, and retweet. Yeah, we on all social media platforms with it. So I need you to make sure that you're doing those things, family, so that we can increase the engagement, get everybody tapped in. Also, I need everybody to slide over to the comments section and let me know what city or state that you're checking in from. I always like to do this because I always want to know who's in the house with us over here at Shifting the Culture. This is the international platform, so people tap in from all over the country as well as outside of the country as well. So it's always dope to have that interaction in the comment section. So please let me know what city and state that you tapped in from. So as I mentioned, we are going to be bringing on a very impactful guest tonight. She is a Black woman in tech. And if you have followed my journey, if you've been following me on social media for quite some time, you know I made the transition into tech, I believe going on 2 years now, via tech sales through a tech boot camp by the name of Course Careers. And once I made that transition into tech through Course Careers into tech sales, I started getting really active on LinkedIn, and I just was able to network and connect with some beautiful, passionate, powerful, intelligent people in the tech industry. And this sister is one of those sisters. She's a life coach. She's a life and career coach, and she actually pivoted into tech from HR. She pivoted into tech from HR 6 years ago, breaking into tech and making the transition. And not only has she transitioned and, really upped the bag and secured the bag for herself and her family, but she also coaches and mentors others in making that transition as well. So, without any further ado, I want to help bring to the stage tonight your sister, Naja Dunn. So y'all help me bring her on with a warm round of applause, family. See, and I still don't have my buttons highlighted, so I hit the wrong button sometimes, but it's all good though. So, Sister Naja, how are you doing this evening?
I am well. I'm at peace, so I can't complain at all.
Oh man, peace is what everybody is trying to get to. We all want to, establish that peace. So you're going to have to give us the secret sauce, give us the secret recipe.
I got it.
Yes, ma'am, for sure. So again, as I mentioned earlier, man, we are thankful and grateful to have you here on the platform with the Culture family. and to have this shift in the culture conversation with you tonight. As I mentioned in the intro, you transitioned your life into tech about 6 years ago, 6 or 7 years ago now, coming from HR. So could you just talk to the family about making that transition?
Yeah, so actually, I was working at HR for about 7 years.
Okay,
So,
okay.
um, I was working at HR. I've done everything from state, government, and private sector. So, I've done everything from being an administrative assistant all the way to managing my own HR office.
Oh wow.
Um, yeah. So I tell people all the time that, HR is the same throughout, like I said, whether you work in state government or private sector, it is the same, it's ran the same. But what I've seen for a very long time is that I was not, I reached like a salary ceiling.
Okay.
And and it just wasn't, it was working for me at the time because I had my own place. I didn't have a roommate or anything like that.
Hmm.
I could pay a car note. I wasn't missing any meals. So it took care of me, of course. But anything outside of that, I would have to make extra money in order to take care of that, whether that's debt or if there was something I was saving up for, I would have to find other ways to make extra money. So it took care of my lifestyle, but there was no wiggle room outside of that.
Now, was this even when you became when you actually ran your own HR office? Was that still the same happening then too?
Yeah, so I found that like the different roles that I played in or I had in HR, they were changing as far as the hierarchy goes, and I was going up the ladder, but my salary was only kind of like pinched up. It wasn't like a great jump, even when I was managing my own HR office.
Gotcha.
Um, yeah.
Okay, well that makes sense. So you reached that salary ceiling. So then, how did you even find out about getting into the tech industry? And the reason why I ask you that is because it's interesting to learn and hear other people's perspective on how they really found out about it, and then how they was able to get in, because it's an industry that's pretty much untapped from our
Right.
community. At least it's not something that's heavily talked about. So
Yeah.
how was your interest peaked in getting in transitioning into tech?
Yeah. So, really by way, the same way that probably 90% of us got into tech was by way of Cyrus, of course.
Right, right,
Uh,
right.
Me and Cyrus had already been friends for, I believe, like 4 or 5 years prior to him getting into tech. And so I've seen his transition from doing poetry to doing Christian content to doing relationship content and then over into tech. And
Wow.
so when he started the tech content, I wasn't interested.
What? Yeah,
I,
you seen
I
everything else he
wasn't.
was doing. Yeah.
I just said that's great for him. I was happy for him. I loved all the blessings that he received by pivoting over. But I was HR girly, so to be honest, I was not looking for a career transition or anything like that. I wanted more money, but I was not looking to get into tech. And honestly, I'm gonna be completely honest. When I thought of tech, I'm thinking IT, I'm thinking,
Mm,
electronics, as far as, my Apple products, I'm not thinking tech sales. I'm not thinking of all the different roles that I know of now that are in tech, that you can pivot from pretty much any industry. So I wasn't aware of that. So I was not interested at all.
right, 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 right.
uh, but
So,
yeah, I was gonna say my turning point, honestly, um, because he was telling me about it, but I was not with it at all.
uh,
But I had ended up losing my father.
mm,
Um, yes, and then again, having that financial security to back me up if I wanted, like if I had some, like a financial net of safety or whatever, but I didn't have that. So when my father passed away, I had to help pay for his funeral. So I had to make other sacrifices in order to help do that.
wow.
And I just told myself I never wanted to be in that position again where I have to sacrifice paying things in order to fund burying a parent.
Right, 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 right. Well, we certainly, are sorry to hear that. And the culture family is definitely keeping the family in prayers, because that's a continuous thing. Um,
Absolutely.
But so you are now thinking, okay, I got to figure out how I'm going to up the bag because I don't want to ever be in this situation again. So what was the conversation like? Where was it a conversation that you and Cyrus had, or was it some piece of content that he put out that was like, you know what? I need to go ahead and see what this is about.
So the crazy thing is, I know that he went through careers and he kept talking about course careers. And he was like, okay, this is another form if you're not trying to, go into sales engineering and things of that nature. You can take course careers as, SDR and things of that nature. And we was talking back and forth, and I was like, asking what about it and all that stuff like that. And I did what everybody else does. You go through a rabbit hole and you start
Yeah.
watching informational videos on
Yeah.
tech sales, that nature. And I saw that it was a 14-day money back guarantee. So I was like, well, if I try it out and I don't like it, I can get my
Get your
money
money
back.
back.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing
So,
right there, boy. If I can get that money back, I'm good.
yeah. So, but I tried it for the 14 days, and honestly, I went past those 14 days and I forgot. I forgot about the trial period. It was just so easygoing.
Right.
It was easy for me. It was at your own pace. So no, you didn't have to clock in for a class at a certain time or anything like that.
Right. Right. Right.
So it gave me flexibility while one, I'm working in HR, I'm grieving the loss of a parent,
Mhm.
and I'm also trying to do a career transition. So it was flexible enough for me.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Mhm.
So what was it about course careers? Obviously, outside of the fact that it was self paced, it was pretty much self explanatory. And it just flowed. Those are the things that really just kept you engaged as you went
Yeah.
through course careers.
Yeah, absolutely. And I tell my clients all the time that another thing is just having that community. They have the community on Discord, other people who are
Yep.
transitioning in. And then also, it was the cheapest route. So I feel like you make your money back. If you land a job in tech, you make your money back within the first 2 weeks of working, in tech. So the
Absolutely.
$500, like, I'm gonna get it back 100 times that. So I'm not really worried about that. For me, it was going to work. So yeah. So I tell my clients all the time that Course Careers definitely does a great job at giving you all the basic information that you need in order to take that into interviews and things of that nature to show up as an SDR, even though you don't have any direct experience. But again, you have community of people that you can lean on and that you can encourage, and they can encourage you as well. So you don't feel like you're alone. And a lot of people do feel that sometimes, like, I'm doing this and I don't have anyone to go to for answers.
Yeah, now the community is really big, especially when you're getting into a area that you're not too familiar with. So it's important that you have those outlets to be able to ask people questions. People going through the same journey as you. So I thought that was something that was really good. However, I was so locked in when I went through course careers, like I was not even tapped in. I don't even think I looked at the Discord until I got to the final exam piece because I was like, this has to work. Like I gotta make
Yeah.
this work.
Yeah.
So and I really when anybody has seen my testimonial video, I was actually working a security job at the time, and I didn't have $500 to be able to take course careers, but it offered the payment plan. So because it
Right.
offered the payment plan, I was able to start with $100, and with
Mm-hmm.
that, that's how I was able to get started. So it's really affordable for people who don't have the money. But yeah,
Yeah.
I was so locked in. I was like, yeah, this got to work. But the community is extremely important. So transitioning now, you go through course careers, right? You are on the path. You go through that. You take the final exam. You pass that. How was the job search for you? Now, and the reason why I'm asking is because if you ever double back, and I'm pretty sure you probably have, but you went back into the course careers portal now. It is so much more than when I was taking it. When I was there,
Yeah.
it was not everything that they have in there today.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
explain the process once you had got your certificate and was looking for jobs. Explain
Mhm.
how that process went. How long did it take?
So it took me a matter of 4 weeks to accept an offer, is what I'm gonna say. Not to land
Okay.
a job. I already had offers on the table within that first month. Now, two things. One, the job seeking journey, I know that it is very strenuous and it can seem very daunting if you're going to get a lot of rejections because you don't have direct experience. But, and I guess we'll get into this a little later about different ways that you can kind of get past that hump. But I was in my HR bag, to be honest. Working in HR for so long, working in HR for so long, it's just like, you know, the tips, the tricks, you know what they're looking for, you know how to ace interviews because
Yo.
you've done that already.
Yeah,
I've been
that's
the
crazy. I
one
didn't even
giving the
think about that
interviews.
till just now. Yeah, I didn't even think about that till just now. Like, you know what's about to come in these interviews. Like, you know the
Exactly.
process.
And
So it's like, wow.
yeah, so it was very, it wasn't hard for me, only because of that. But
You had the cheat
that is,
code. You
but
said
that is
you had
why,
the cheat code.
but that is why I became a coach. Now, I want to get into this because you just said that when we first took course careers, it was not the same as it is today.
Right.
It was totally different. And I got to see the changes of that. So, I mean, we can get back to me landing a role within
Okay.
4 weeks, but I got to see the changes from the back end. Troy
Mm.
actually had to sit down with his UX designer. She was showing me what the new platform would look like. I thought it was really good. I was like, this looks really nice. And then they were saying how they would have the student profile. Now, when we graduated, we didn't have the student profile.
Nope.
We had a list of companies. We
That's it.
applied, and whether they wanted us or not, that was the deal,
That
right?
was it.
Which
That
I
was
thought
it.
that was really cool because I was like, oh, we're going to get this list.
Right.
But
Me too.
now students have a student profile and companies can come look and invite you for interviews, but, and which I thought was pretty cool. But I went to Troy after sitting with her and I said, Troy, what about the students who don't feel like they're being seen? What about the students who feel like they just are not acing the job seeking journey? They don't feel like they're getting, you know, they're not getting noticed. They're not getting invited for interviews. You know,
Hmm.
they're not even getting past recruiters, you know, screenings and things of that nature. I said, what about those students? I said, I really think you should add coaching to course careers.
Mm.
Troy said, I'm gonna think about it. And he came back the next day and said, we can add coaching if you become a coach. So
That's normally how I go. You gonna do it?
yeah, so the
We can do. We
coaching
can add it.
so the coaching was my idea. That the reason why we have course careers coaches was because of me.
Wow.
And it was just me bringing in
Naja is the one that founded the coaching aspect in course
I
careers,
did.
bro. For real.
And and it was just me being in my life coach bag at the time. I was just like, you need coaches. I wasn't really thinking like, oh, this is a way for me to do anything or anything like that. But yes, I brought it to him the next day. He said cool, and then he opened it up to people who also had landed jobs in tech, and so that's how that was the start of it. I don't know what the requirements now is to be a coach because we have
Yeah.
a lot of coaches, but that was the start of it. But yeah, so I landed my first role in fintech. So I ended up utilizing that. I tell my clients, you can do this. If you're not completely done with the industry that you're coming from, you can
Hmm.
utilize that to get your foot in the door in a tech company that services that industry.
Right. Good point. Good point.
Because you're like their prospect before you join a tech company, so you know the minds of, you know, the industry that you're coming from, the people in the industry that you're coming from. So I just utilize, I've been in HR before, the finance offices are a part of HR. I know how to talk to these people,
Right.
and that's how I landed my first role in fintech.
Man, I could just imagine how those interviews was going. I mean, they was asking you questions, and they, boy, I mean, you just was hitting them with stuff they weren't even expecting. They're like, well, how? Somebody didn't do all
Yes,
the research on sis because she know too much. Like she's supposed to be on
they
this
were.
side of the camera,
Yes,
not that side of the camera. Like
they was
that's
asking questions.
crazy.
It was like, I was gonna ask you this one, but you already answered that question. So let's just move to the next question.
Right.
Like,
Wow.
so yeah.
Wow. So okay. So now you able to land a role. You know, in fintech. Was that a SDR role that you landed, or was it? What was the
Yeah.
actual role that you landed in fintech? It was SDR.
Yep. It was sales development rep. Yep.
Okay, okay. So talk about wrapping your mind around the fact that you could actually enter a industry
Mm-hmm.
at an entry level and actually make a decent salary at entry
Yes.
level, and then the
Mm-hmm.
opportunities that exist as you perform well and you either move vertically in that role to another role, or you
Yeah.
move horizontally into another tech
Mm-hmm.
space. Talk
Yeah.
about the opportunities that exist there even without you having to have a degree and things like that.
Yes. So now I do have a degree,
Okay.
but my degree was not needed for this. But I will say that like when I finally broke in, um, my starting salary, like including OTE, was double what I was making in HR.
Wow. Wow.
Hmm.
Dang. I know
Yeah.
some of them I know some of those SDR salaries. So
Hmm.
I'm thinking to myself like, dang, well, they was really not paying y'all in HR there.
Right.
Goodness gracious.
And I ended up getting a really good deal as entry because if you think about it, if you have no direct experience, you're not coming out the gate making 80. That's just,
Right,
you're gonna be
right.
on the lower end of that. But including OCE, I came out the gate making 80. That was my
Okay.
first SDR role. So
Okay.
so yeah, it was double my salary already. So without coaching or anything like that, I was already at a double salary once I broke
Mm.
into tech.
Mm.
Um, and I tell people all the time because people will say, like, okay, so where do I go from here after I do this? I tell people if you stick it out from 9 to 12 months, I never tell them to leave a company if they just
Mm.
want more money because you can move up.
Yeah.
Because after a year, they could give you um, a raise, they could give you a promotion, and you can go into account executive, which is the next step up from SDR. But if you would like to do something a little bit more, I would say more involved in tech, like sales engineer
Mm-hmm.
or be like a VP, outside sales, things of that nature, then because you started out with SDR, you have the basics, you know, sales processes, it will be an easier transition. Now, you might need a little bit more education, like another boot camp,
Mm-hmm.
or you may need to tie some of your previous experience, like if you've already worked in like people operations or if you worked as like a general manager, things of that nature, you can utilize it. It's just ways that you can show that you have those transferable skills in order to kind of slide your way in. And even then, you might be at entry level if you go that route.
Right, 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 right. Well, that definitely makes sense. And when I talk to people, a lot of times about the opportunities that you have and the salaries that you can make, you
Hmm.
know, coming in the door, it's almost unbelievable. So you kind of have to
Yeah.
experience it yourself first, because
Yeah.
this me breaking into tech, I was making 85 including OTE. That was my
Hmm.
first role as an SDR. I had never made that much money in my life at a job. So
Exactly.
that was just
Yeah.
like incredible. And again, not having a degree, because I don't have a degree in the aspect of a traditional degree, and then
Right.
definitely
Right.
nothing that's tech related, right? But I
Yeah.
do have very good communication skills and things like that. But and then obviously adding the course careers
Hmm.
certificate to it, that just took
Right.
everything over the top. But again, like I said, you kind of have to believe it in order. I mean, experience it to believe it. But
Exactly.
I know it was something that was very, very true for me, and I know it was very true for you. And I'm gonna ask you like a SDR, almost like a SDR question, because
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about the role and you knowing what you know in the role. Um,
Hmm.
how did your previous experience, I guess, and the training in course careers help you to be successful in that role that you landed?
Yeah. So again, I tell people all the time, I stand behind course careers. I do because it worked for me and it works for a lot of my clients. So I've seen it happen time and time again in my closest friends. So um Course Careers definitely does an amazing job with giving you all the basic information you need to know about the role.
Right.
Everything, from cold calling. It even allows you to have an assignment that makes you actually put into work what you'll be doing already. And it kind of goes beyond that because when you become an SDR, most companies will already have a pipeline for you to work. But in Course Careers, with the assignment, they make you actually build your own pipeline. So it's kind of like beyond what you're already going to be doing.
Yeah.
Um, Again, it just there's nothing that it didn't cover. So once I became an SDR, I didn't say they didn't teach me this.
Right.
It was nothing that it didn't cover. So it does a very good job of giving you all the basic information, things that you can take into those interviews and say, I'm ready to do this work.
Mm.
Now, I will say, from coming from HR, I'm already a people person. I'm a people operations person. So very solution oriented. So I know when I'm talking to people how to ask them questions in order for them to tell me what's really going on with them.
Right.
So it's never, I'm never pulling teeth because I know how to have a conversation in a way where they want to tell me. When people work in HR, people trust you because going to HR means that you have the answer. So I just kind of use that same information when I'm on the phone with people in order to say, okay, what's going on? And they trust you because it's like you're talking to them in a way that they don't feel like you're trying to be in their business, but just trying to bring a solution to something that may be a problem. But there are, like I tell people, like you can always pivot over from any industry because if you have a professional background, you're going to have transferable skills that are going to work for this role. For this role specifically, is what I'm going to say.
Absolutely.
Because people all the time think they have like imposter syndrome, and I'm like, you're just bringing what you already know over to this, and then learning the things that you don't. It's going to be a learning curve. It was a learning curve for me, but if you can get past yourself and knowing that you're not going to know everything off rip, and that you kind of have to take off your old hat and put on your SDR hat, then you're able to. And once you get on the phone, you're able to get past that. But if you can't even get on the phone, that's gonna be your
A problem.
stopping point.
Yeah.
How you gonna make money? you ain't gonna make money like that.
Right.
So
Right. No, that's absolutely true. So okay, you into your new journey. In fintech and working as a SDR. And I it's funny because one of the things I want to ask you is really about the customer profile, and this is just a real like business oriented type of question, but I'm just curious to know. Now the ideal customer profile that you guys were targeting, was it C-suite level? Was it C level or C-suite, or was it under? Was it under that, or was it both?
no, it was So it kind of really depends because for the company that I worked for, we had a software that did automatic payments, automatic invoicing.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes when you're talking to a CEO or a CFO, they don't really touch that part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so they may pass you to their controller, which is the
Okay.
person that pretty much puts in all of their technical stuff. Like, okay, if we're using new software, that's what they do.
Okay.
Never like a VP or, anything like that. But it's either CFO, CEO, or they're just sending you over to their controller, and their controller kind of brings them in the loop, afterwards. Yeah.
Okay. And I used to always, because the company that I work for, we targeted C-suite as well as like VPs and things like that on the cyber, specifically on the cyber side, but we would also kind of tap into the finance side, and I would always see controller, and I never knew what controller did. I would see that in the company structure. I'd be like, I don't know, what the controller does, but so
Right.
that's something new for me to learn. So,
Yeah.
So understanding that, man, that's just so powerful. Could you talk about the cold calling aspect? Because I know anytime you bring up sales and mention cold calls, people get nervous. And they're like, oh no, I
Yeah.
don't want to do no cold calling and things like that. So can you talk about the art of cold calling and
Hmm.
mastering a cold call?
Yes. So I love this question because when I do talk to my clients, I let them know. This is what I tell them so that they can feel a little bit more relaxed about cold calling. Number one, you are not, unless you're doing direct sales, like you have to close on the phone and take somebody's credit card,
Yeah.
which is probably like 10% of SDR role. That's like more so like inbound.
Mm-hmm.
But majority of them, 90% is outbound. So you're doing cold call. You are not really selling them anything in that moment. What you're doing is you're figuring out if they have a problem and if your software solves that problem. So your best friend is to ask them questions, qualifying questions.
Right.
And not in a way like, oh, what do you have going on? What you doing? What you doing? Not like that, but
Yeah.
more so, you know, if whenever they give you like an objection or whatever like that, it's always a question after that. You never leave it at that. So they say, you do your intro, you
Mm-hmm.
know, talk to you, good. They want to hear what you guys say. You can ask them a question based on whatever your services are. Like
Mm-hmm.
say you work in fintech and you have a a finance software, and you go, have you guys been looking into automatic payments or invoicing?
Mm-hmm.
And they go, oh, we've been looking into it. And you ask them, oh, what are you using right now? Like, how do you do that process right now since you don't have anything? And they go, oh, Sally from
Old
1986 been
school.
working here.
Yeah.
Yeah, she does this and that. And it's like, oh, okay, well, if you were to scale it 1 to 10 on that process, like, how do you feel about it? Oh, it's more so a 6 because now we got to deal with fraud because
Mm-hmm.
paperwork and blah, blah, blah. It's just a conversation, right? You ask them questions. Oh, okay, well, we'll make that process better. Or, if they have something already, what do they do? Even if you know what, because you're supposed to be searching your competitors too, right?
Yep,
So
that's
even
true.
though, so even though you might know what they're like what they're using, act like you don't know. Ask them, oh, what does that do? And they go, oh, it does this and that. Oh, does it do this too? No, it doesn't do that. I would like that to be something as an addition, but they don't offer that. You're
Mm.
finding loopholes right there. Like, oh, okay, what don't they have? Now, if your company does that, that's a sure way to say, hey, my company does X, Y, and Z. Would you like to compare oranges to apples, just in case you feel like you may be missing something? No strings attached. I'm not trying to marry you. I'm not trying to marry you. And they normally laugh at that. I'm not trying to marry you or anything like that. If you like the product, good. If you don't, cool. Because for me and where I worked, as long as I set the meeting and they showed up to that meeting on that day,
I was
I
good
got
to go.
commission. I got
Yeah, I
commission.
was
Yeah.
good to go.
Now my AE or VP would have to convince them to buy the product, and that's how they got commission. But
Right.
my job
Hmm.
was to make them show up. So that's why I say, hey, if you like it, cool. If you don't, okay. But if they
It's
don't
all
have
good.
anything going on, then I'm just inviting them. I say, hey, look, this is what I want to do for you, because it sounds like you got a lot going on over there. I want to set you up with my VP or my AE. They got openings next Wednesday at this time. Would you like to just see a free demo? You say free, of course the demo's free, but again, you say the word free, now people thinking, oh, I'm getting a good deal.
Yep. Hmm.
They say yes, they show up, you get commission. Your job is to book meetings. That's
That's
it.
it. That's it.
That's
That's it.
it.
That's it. No,
That's
that's real.
it. So
No, that's
yeah.
real. That's real. So I wanna pivot the conversation to the job market, and I wanna kind of tap into
Mhm.
your HR mindset. And I think just going off of my experience, I just believe when I was first coming out of course careers, looking for a job, looking for a role, I was going hard for 30 days and going hard. I'm talking about, 4 or 5 apps a day type of thing.
Yeah.
And I did get a lot of momentum, and I was able to land a role within those first 30 days of applying. So But now it seems like there's been a shift in the
Mhm.
market. It seems like I mean, I talked to a lot of other people who, have graduated course careers and things like that. And, they may be looking for something else. And it's just like, it's just super difficult, right? So could you speak to the current job market,
Mhm.
in the tech industry, especially around tech sales?
Yes. And this is what I do. This is what I do when I do coaching. Because I don't just do coaching, but this is what sets me apart from other coaches is that I'm not just coaching you, giving you encouragement and saying, you got this, let's go and apply.
Hmm.
I revamp their resumes, I revamp their LinkedIn, I do mock interviews with them,
Mm.
and I also help them find roles that more so align with
Th-
their experience so that they can get in there easier. And when people come to me, recruiters and things of that nature, hey, do you know anybody who's looking for this? Oh, I send it to my clients first because I want them to land jobs. You
Absolutely.
know, so I tell them all the time. I study the market because I do career coaching. I can't
Yeah.
tell you, hey, I'm going to revamp this, do this, all that stuff, prepare you for this when I know that the market is crap.
Yeah.
There was a really steep shift, and I would say only because the tech industry is being a little bit more saturated now.
Yeah.
And so I would say that there is a shift, but it works if you work it. I tell people all the time, like, you're gonna get a lot of no's, but you don't need 100 yeses. You need
Just
just
need
about
one.
three.
Okay. I'm talking about one.
I really like one.
Yeah.
You only really need one because you want to get your foot in the door. You just want to get the experience.
Hmm.
The tech industry is one of those industries that if you move to another company after a year, they're not going to be like, oh, you only worked there a year. They're going to be like, this person got experience. Let's get them moving. They already know this. Let's get them in and do the job.
Right.
So, but I would say that the market did change. But I found that people are also not putting in the work. They're
Mm.
not doing the job to get the job. They're afraid to DM recruiters or hiring managers and ask for 20 minutes of their time for a role that is open already. They're afraid to mass apply. Some people say don't mass apply. Some people say mass apply. I say either way, you get them applications in, somebody gonna say yes. You
Right.
know. Um, and then I've even had people cold call the recruiter, cold call the hiring manager.
Uh huh.
So it depends on how hungry you are.
That's a point.
I helped, and a lot of people know this story because he's been on Anthony O'Neill show and Texas is New Black.
Oh wow.
But
Okay.
Sebastian,
Oh, I know. I see his interview. I think I seen his interview.
yes, I helped him land his first tech role. And and I ain't gonna lie, me and Sebastian are really good friends now.
Uh huh.
And I'm glad he got to do that because when I was talking to him, he was so intrigued, like, oh, you was on Tech is New Black, you was on Anthony O'Neill. I want to do that too. He was like, I'm gonna manifest, I'm gonna do this. Like I'm gonna
Yeah.
and I believe in him because Sebastian is just he is amazing to be how young he is, you know?
Hmm.
And he did get on my nerves throughout the process. I worked with him throughout the process, and he literally did everything with me: the coaching call, the resume, the LinkedIn mock interview. And afterwards, Sebastian would hit me up every day. Like, I filled out this many applications. I cold called this many managers. I'm about to go to there. I'm about to go to the site and walk. Like, he literally went to Zoom Info,
Like the physical location.
the physical location. Okay. And so it really depends on how much drive you have. There's no way that he worked at a pizza place in Chick-fil-A and
Mm.
got him a tech job and one of the higher salaries. And he had other offers. He had an offer. I said, take it. He said, Miss Dunn, and I hate when he say Miss Dunn because I'm like, I'm not old. But he's like, Miss Dunn, I'm not taking it because I feel like I can get more. And I'm like, hey, you 18, you just graduated high school. A lot of people did not go into, their first job making
Right.
50, 60. It says,
Hmm.
take it. He said, nah, I'm not. I said, oh, he gonna give me a headache. The next job, the next job, offering 10K more. He said, I don't know. He says another job they might be offering me the 80K. So I said, please do not tell them no. And then here you are, and you're like, oh, I should have took it. So I said, send me your offer letter. I gotta read it. So I read on there that him or the employer could retract this at any time for any reason. So I'm like, okay, sign it, tell him you're gonna accept it, and if the other job comes, just retract it.
Yeah.
Literally, he signed it one day, and the next day, the other job offered him the 80K. He got that job. So
Wow.
it depends on how hungry you are. He ain't wait long.
Yo, that's dope.
He did what he was supposed to do.
That's fire. That's fire. Shout out to Sebastian. Shout out to Miss Dunn and her coaching and consistency. Yo, that's a crazy story. Yo, that's dope.
Yeah. So it works if you work it. I just feel like some people are lazy and they want it to fall in their lap. But you gotta use what you have and use your resources too. You just never know.
No, that's so true. And talk about now your coaching because you talked about your clients and the relationships you have with recruiters and things like that. Oh, so 2 questions. So talk about your coaching now and where you are now in your tech journey. And then the second question is, why didn't you go into HR? Why didn't you go into tech recruiting? Because I've talked to other tech recruiters. I've had them on the show. And, you know, it just seemed like that would be a seamless transition for you, obviously coming from HR background anyway. So, yeah, why didn't you look for a tech HR or a tech recruiter role?
So I did.
Okay.
So when I graduated course careers, I said to myself, yeah, I could do SDR work or I can go into recruiting because I already did recruiting in state government, private sector.
Right.
But I went and I wanted to work for this one company, and they ended up making it seem like you're going to be at the very, very bottom working your way up. And they said, you have an extensive background, like your background is amazing. So why would you start at the bottom? And in my mind, I'm like, well, I started at the bottom in HR.
Right.
So I wasn't really like, taken aback from them saying that, oh, you might have to start from the bottom. So it was just this back and forth thing about like, I don't know, like it's almost like they wanted somebody who didn't care to like it's like somebody who just graduated or something. I don't know. So it was a lot of back and forth, and I had other offers on the table. So I'm like, I don't got time to be going back. So either y'all want somebody who has this great background or y'all don't. Like I'm just not about to do it. So I did go for that first, but it was a headache. So I'll say, you know what, whatever, it is what it is. And I'm sorry, what was the other question?
The other question, yeah, because we talked about the applying to be a tech recruiter, but coaching and where you are in your your tech journey currently.
Yeah. So
are you doing more? Are you doing more SDR work? Are you doing more coaching work, clients, things like that?
So I actually right after working in fintech, I ended up moving over into security tech sales, and but it was more inbound, and it didn't give me the challenge that outbound kind of gives you. The structure is a lot different. It's direct sales, so you have to
close.
On the phone and stuff like that. And I didn't. I thought it was more customer service like. I didn't like it. And prior to me being in HR for all those years, all through college and at the end of high school, I did a lot of CSR work. So I've worked for so many call centers, and I was just like, this kind of feels like that. I didn't like it.
Boy, I got call center engrams over here. Good God.
So I did it for a while, and I would say this: no matter what company I've worked for, my business, the career coaching, has been booming since I got in tech. Wow. So at the current moment, I am just servicing the tech community. So I'm still part of the tech community, but I'm servicing in the coaching aspect.
Okay.
And I love that. I love that because it allows me to do what I really want to do. Because no matter, I tell people all the time, like, yeah, you can go into SDR work, but it's rewarding, but it's no different than having another job. You still have to do work because people
Right.
think that when you get in, it's going to be easy peasy. You still have to hustle and bustle and things of that nature. But I love working with people. Hence why
Mm-hmm.
I was in HR. I didn't want to leave HR. I love people operations.
Yeah.
So I love being the person that people come to and like, hey, what's the answer to this? How do I get this? What's can we move forward from this? What's the strategy? I like that. So me doing my business and helping people land jobs in tech is the most rewarding. Like literally I would work the SDR role, get off work, and have like 3 clients a night. And I was more excited about that than I was, doing the SDR work. The money was great, but I
Right.
make good money in my business.
Doing
So
what you do with the business.
yeah,
So are you looking to? Are you just looking now to scale what you're doing with your clients and things like that?
absolutely. So I wanna move more into holding their hands and getting them more access to more recruiters, access to more hiring managers, and more roles because sometimes people don't even know what roles to look for. And we do that in the mock interview, but also after you're done, people forget those things. They're just like kind of winging it.
Yeah.
And I want to be the one to be like, okay, not only am I preparing you for this journey, but when you are prepared to go out there, I'm going to help you with that part about it too. So that's the part that I'm trying to get over is kind of helping them find the jobs even quicker,
Mm-hmm.
and opportunities to connect with recruiters.
Absolutely. That's really dope. That's really dope. So tell me about um as you look to scale what you're doing in the coaching aspect of things. Can you talk about the branding because you brand yourself very well. Um, as a career coach and a black woman in tech. So just talk about the branding aspect and why that's extremely important.
Yeah, so I would tell people all the time that having a brand is great, but if you don't have people skills, if you don't know how to network, and if you don't know how to service people, then your brand is crap. Because no one, people buy into stories and they also buy into trusting someone to actually help them get the results that they're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And so, honestly, all of the things that I've done, podcasts, all the things that I've done with coaching, everything that I've done with helping course careers on that side, it's because it worked for me and I believed so heavily, like that I wanted other people to see that it could work for them too. So, and when people see that passion and it's like, she's really genuine with, like, sometimes people get on the call with me and they're like flustered and they're like talking all fast. I'm like, relax. I'm I'm a regular person, okay? I'm not this, whatever you thinking from LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I'm still Naja. I'm still Naja. I'm a regular person. I'm a girl from Jersey. Okay.
Jersey in the house.
So, you know, but I tell people relax. Like, let's figure out how to get you where you want to go. And people love that because they're like, oh, you're so down to earth. And I don't know what other experiences they had with other coaches or
Hmm.
people in general that are in the tech industry. But for some reason, they kind of feel like that they have to treat them like celebrities, kind of. And I'm not like that.
Hmm.
And they're happy, like, you're so down to earth. I can just tell you what's going on. I don't just start and say, okay, well, what do you want me to do? Literally, anybody can tell you, and you can look at my testimonials. I start off with, tell me about yourself. Like, you got kids, you married, where you
Yeah.
from, how did you get to where you are now?
Mm.
I want to know that. I want to know your why because I'm gonna help you build on that why so that you can make it more believable for people who are gonna hire you. So, and that's how the brand. I didn't do anything. I didn't do any crazy strategy to boost myself up on LinkedIn or anything like that. It's just I service people, and people love that.
Authenticity.
Yeah, they tell other people, and people like, hey, you helped such and such. And when they have that experience, they go tell other people, and it just spread like wildfire. And you don't have to do anything crazy. You don't gotta be flipping off a wall and making these outrageous videos or trying to be in competition with anybody. The work and the service that you do for people, it speaks for itself.
Servant leadership. That's what comes to my mind when I think about
Absolutely.
what you just talked about. Servant leadership, leading with the mind to serve, and how
Yeah.
you can, help the people that are reaching out to you. I think that's extremely important because one of the things I learned about in social media marketing and branding is that the impact is better than the income. So it's impact over
Absolutely.
income. And sometimes people get into things because of the income. They're trying to figure out how they can make, a lot of money and how they can increase their
Exactly.
income. And that's all good. However,
hmm
how are you impacting the people that you are coming in
Right.
contact with? What are you
hmm
doing and how much value are you bringing to that individual, to that situation,
Right.
that they can actually see tangible results? And
hmm
if you are able to provide them with those results, if you're able to provide them with a change, if you're able to impact them on such a level where you leave a lasting impression, then that in and of itself is going to lead you into the income.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
impact should be top of mind and,
Exactly.
priority.
Yeah. And I have some people reaching out who want to scale their coaching with course careers. And I tell them all the time, what are you bringing outside of motivation or telling somebody a story and saying how you did something? Like, what do you bring outside of that? And then also, I have people hit me up all the time like, oh, what's your specific strategy? And I'm like, you can't be me.
You
Like,
got to be you.
you know,
You got to be
exactly.
you.
Like I literally have people all, like who want to be coaches. I tell people you can't just come in and be a coach and it's better if you've taken course careers because some people want to be a coach for course careers and haven't even taken course careers.
Yeah, that's
People
not gonna work.
trust people trust when you
Yeah,
have done the same thing.
you got
You
to
see what I'm
experience
saying?
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
you have to
So
experience it.
but who you are is gonna have people trusting you by what they see. And I can't, there's no secret sauce. I wish I
Mm.
could tell you this is how I did it. But the numbers, I I had somebody hit me up and say, congratulations on 15,000 followers. And I say, I got what? I didn't even know. I literally, and I'm on LinkedIn and I revamp people LinkedIn all the time. But I do not be going on mine like, oh, how many followers I have. Like,
hmm
I just don't. I didn't even know. Somebody brought it to my attention. They literally DM me and brought it to my attention. And I'm like, wow, that's amazing. But
Wow.
it wasn't on my mind. I wasn't looking to get followers. I don't even think followers. I'm thinking, let
Who
me
can I
get some
help?
people. Yeah, like
Yeah, who can I
that's what
help?
I was thinking. Not
Yeah.
followers. Followers don't do anything. Like anybody can follow you, but I really didn't know because it wasn't a goal of mine to have followers. Like that just wasn't on my mind.
And I mean that's the beauty in it because again, when you are just trying to figure out what you able to bring to the table that can help people and impact people on another level, then all of the other stuff that a lot of people looking for, that stuff come
Yeah,
along with it.
exactly.
One of the things is in the scripture it says, "Seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all
Mm-hmm.
these things shall be added unto you." So, all of those things like followers and, brand deals and
Mm-hmm.
interviews, those are the things that are added unto you if you seek ye first the kingdom of God and you seek to help and to serve in,
Absolutely.
in that aspect, in that capacity of the
Mm-hmm.
people, then all those things will be added to you. And I think
But people want
if,
it the other way around.
yeah, a lot of people want to
They
do it the
want
other
the
way
things
around.
first
They want the
in order
things
to make them
first.
comfortable to
Yeah.
seek the
Then they
kingdom
want to
of God.
serve. Oh, let me serve you after I
Exactly.
got my bag up. Like, no, that's not how
Exactly.
that works. It's not
Exactly.
how that works. You definitely out of order. Um,
Exactly. Way out of order.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So, could you tell us what's next for Naja now? I know you mentioned earlier that you actually looking to scale the business, so you acting, you looking to add some new things and some new aspects and stuff like that. But what's coming up down the pipe that we can look forward to, and the people can stay tapped in.
Um, I am going to be bringing a different aspect to job seeking, especially for those who are parents.
Mm,
Um, because that could be a lot in itself. It's one thing to be, 18, just coming out of college, you ain't got no kids, and it's just you, right? But it's another thing when you're coming from a background where you're trying to pivot, or you're not working, you're unemployed, and you have children, and you're trying to pivot in that stage as well. And it can be hard trying to juggle a family and also, increase your income as well. So that's something that I want to kind of focus in on. So there's a lot of there's a lot of new things that will be coming. The reason why I'm doing that. So I don't want to say right now, but
hmm
that's something that I will be focusing on in the future, because I've seen a lot of that. I've come across a lot of moms and even fathers who are either unemployed or employed trying to pivot, but
hmm
they also got to make time to do a boot camp and still they have families.
hmm
It's hard to do that. It's like, how do you find time? And so I'm gonna try to figure out a strategy for parents to pivot over.
Time management. Time
Yeah.
management is key, for sure.
Mhm. Yeah.
When it comes to that, real heavy. So, and you find that, man, I've had people reach out to me, and talking about, the market trying to shift and transition. How many people do you talk to that are looking to get in the tech industry or come out of course careers? Because obviously, and I don't know if you was in there at this time. I know when I was in course careers, that was the only thing you could take was tech sales. That
Hmm.
was the only course that
Yeah.
they offered. There was nothing else. Now
Yeah. Hmm.
they have IT, they have UX design.
AE, they got UX.
Right, all
They
of
got
those.
HR.
Oh, see, wow, see, they what Troy getting to it, just adding new stuff to it, adding new stuff to it. So that's really dope. So do you also service people that are not coming in for sales? That are people that are IT and things like that as well.
Yes. So, and it's only because the strategies that I use for tech sales can be applied to any industry.
Industry.
And I don't only help people, even though I service course careers mainly. I don't only service course career students. So I have
Mm.
people that are just on LinkedIn. Hey, I want to go into this. I want to go into that. I see that you do resume revamp. I know that you do this. That you do that. Can you help me out? So majority of my clients are tech, but I have a whole community of people who just looking to get either scale up in their company or pivot over into different industries. Somebody might be a CSR, but they're just looking to go into HR, or somebody might be in HR, but they're looking to go into healthcare. So people pivot from different industries, but majority of them are tech clients. Yeah.
Man, that's so dope. That's so dope. So, listen, family, if you just joining us, man, we've been chopping it up with Sister Naja, man, and she has been walking us through her journey in tech. How she transitioned out of HR into the tech industry, getting into fintech, and now, as a life coach and career coach, assisting and impacting many people on their tech journey. So it's been a really, really powerful conversation, man. We touched on a lot of different things. I need you who are on Facebook, YouTube, I need you to like, share, subscribe, smash that like button, hit the bell so you can stay notified every time that we drop a video. And then for the Twitter family, I need you to retweet, and Instagram family, I need you to make sure that you're in the comment section. And those who are also going to be in the comments, let me know what city and state that you tuned in from. Because this has been a fire conversation. I want to know your thoughts and what you thought about the conversation, and what Sister Naja is doing. So make sure that you let us know that in the comment section. So where do people find you on social media outside of obviously on LinkedIn? But where else do people find you on social media? Or is LinkedIn like your biggest area, that you do your social media thing at?
LinkedIn is my cream of crop when it comes to coaching. So
Okay.
if you're trying to support that, then Naja Dunn on LinkedIn. But my favorite is actually Instagram.
Okay.
Instagram. And my Instagram is ooh-la-la-naj, so OOOLALA
Okay.
_NAJ. But also that's my TikTok as well. So yeah, Instagram and TikTok. I hate Facebook for some reason. But
Yeah.
Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn are my favorite platforms right now.
Man, LinkedIn kind of popping. Like I didn't get on
It
LinkedIn until I first went through course careers. It was like you got to set up a LinkedIn profile, do all that kind of stuff. I was like, I'm gonna do it because of the course. But then once I started putting out content on LinkedIn, it was like, oh,
is.
okay, LinkedIn kind of the move over here. So I
Yeah,
didn't,
it's mirroring other social media platforms every single day. Like they just made an update to where they have this new algorithm where the more you post, the more they're gonna put you in front of other people for them. Like I don't know if you've been on your timeline and it says like follow this person, and you don't know who that
word,
person is, but they're suggesting this person just like Facebook would say, do you know this people you know and things of that nature. Same thing with
right.
Instagram. So LinkedIn is also having that as well. Yeah. Hmm.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So I had kind of fell back off of LinkedIn. We'll talk about that on the back end. But
Yeah.
but yeah, I need to go ahead and jump back out there. If they doing that, more posts and more
Yeah.
engagement, then no, let me go ahead and start
Mhm.
pumping it out again.
Yeah.
But Naja, man, we appreciate you for coming by, sitting with the culture family. He has shifting the culture, and we like to have these powerful conversations with people like yourself who are out, got big motion going on, but really with that servant leadership mindset, impacting the people, and and giving back to the community. So we appreciate your time, and just
Thank you for
stopping by and
having me.
talking with us today. Absolutely, no, we got to do this again. So we definitely gonna be bringing you back, for sure. And other than that, man, family, we appreciate you for sitting with us today and having this conversation. Again, if you're looking to transition into the tech industry, then you know who to talk to and where to find me at. But if you want to get some more specific coaching, then definitely slide over to LinkedIn, tap in with Sister Naja, and let her go ahead and get you right on your tech journey, because she gonna bring the heat for you.
Absolutely.
Man, so we appreciate you, family. Until next time, man, we look forward to seeing you all next week. And man, we look forward to another powerful, impactful conversation. So peace and blessings.
Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. They gave leadership to our foreparents, and that leadership made them slaves. But we have decided to find a leadership of our own.
Not your average nigga, I'm a god out the hood. They can't downplay me. I came up, I'm elevated. I ain't gotta say too much for them to know I'm coming for what's mine. They see me in my presence, say they see how I'm coming. Young, but you not just gonna finesse me like you did my peoples. Then back when you said they was emancipated. This ain't that. Your head too big, you feeling yourself. The game wasn't fair, you had the advantage, we wasn't educated. I don't look at you people the same. Nah. Your worst nightmare, my skin tone about them chains. Yeah. Not no circus lion, son, I can't be tamed. You gon' have to kill me, pussy, Toby ain't my name. Y'all still want us think our history started when we were slaves? What? Come on now, talk about them pyramids we made. I'm chosen by that man, y'all just been running game. The nerve of you acting